Mm-hmm.
What's up, everybody? Episode 57, the Six Man Tag Podcast.
A number with zero relevance.
No, there's nothing important about
There's nothing
57.
important in 57. If there
Yeah,
is, leave it in the comments.
sure. Yeah, if 57 means something to you. And also, if leaving a comment, that means you're watching on YouTube. If you stumbled upon this, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, let you know when we post shit. Man,
Yeah.
if you're listening to audio, also see this jacket? Shoes of a champion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just watched that the other day. It's one of my favorites.
Yes.
I mean, and no offense to the NWA, maybe all of the offense, but like some of the guys they had and now what it is. Yikes.
Yeah, that.
But anyway. Hey, it is what it is.
Hey, you want to make Tires your
Funk
champion?
is on a
That's your
roll,
call.
right?
Anywho.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that today.
Or ever.
Also true. Never say never. It's wrestling, brother. Brother. So today we're talking about Bayley. I think this is the first time we've done like any kind of like women's thing. Not that we don't talk about women's wrestling, but I feel like this is the first time the main focus is on it. So Bayley, this was another one of the options in that poll we did a few weeks ago, and this I believe was second place. So if you listened to our AJ Styles episode last week, thank you. A lot of fun deep diving on that one, going back 20 plus years. Some of the shit we found.
This one we only have to do about a decade,
which is crazy to think that she's been around for almost a decade already. Because it feels we can do that with time in general, where oh hey, the 2014, 2 years ago, right?
I'm in space or mystery to me.
But anyway, yeah, we're talking about Bayley today, and before we get into all that, intros, because my brain forgets things all the time. I'm Mike. Joining me as always. Huh. Yeah. He's not here.
No.
Anyway, joining me, to my left, this way, if that's how it shows up, on YouTube, it's Skylar.
What's number 576, Paul Heyman. Number 577, Ron Simmons. Number 578, Teddy Long. Number 579, Joel Gertner. Number 580, Chris Jericho. Number 581, Jesse the Body. Number 582, Mr. Saturday Night Shabbat. Number 583, Hulk Hogan, brother. And cut to commercial.
So the throwback, the callback.
Yes, the callback. I've been into callbacks very much recently.
As we know, the man of 1,004 intros.
Yeah, at this point.
It's a lot more than that. No Craig, no CJ this week, as you may have noticed by the lack of voice, the lack of intro, and the only 2 video boxes on your YouTube screen.
And no, I don't think we expect a random.
I don't think we're gonna get a pop in. If we do, great. I'm not expecting it. If we are, but
just so if it does happen, we're telling you right now, we are seriously don't know.
Sorry, I have this Yankees game on, and it's just an insane catch just now. But anyway, what was that? No. Sorry. See, this is what happens. My ADHD brain gets distracted. I look at a screen and then I forget I'm recording live audio now.
I literally just read a meme. Hold on. ADHD is the most poorly named affliction ever. Like, hi, do you have a profound physical inability to accomplish your goals specifically because they're your goals, and also you thought of your friends not liking you make you want to die? May have trouble sitting still disorder. Way to be on the nose.
It's all true. Yeah, nailed it.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Bayley.
so we're talking Bayley. Yeah.
How's that song go?
Um,
That crowd chant they always used to do. You know the one. Because I forgot how it went. Anyway, okay, moving
me
on.
too. Maybe we'll get there. But
Yeah,
anyway,
maybe.
so Bayley. So yeah, man, she's been around for almost a decade. That's insane to me. And over the 10 years, it has been quite the evolution from
Mm-hmm.
where we started to where we are today.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll take you on that ride. So NXT, um, I it's she must have been just by like the lack of anything prior to 2014. So she clearly was just like a performance center signing. And that,
Yes.
she like that must, that's clearly how it started.
She did
Um,
spend some time in the indies, but nothing.
it's
Well,
like,
she did do Shimmer,
oh, that's true.
which okay, that's legit.
Right.
But she didn't do it a lot. But
Right.
yeah, she
She was right. Like she was on, she did indies, like you said, Shimmer, but pretty quickly, man, right into NXT.
yep.
Joined, got in 2013, gets on NXT. Now, do you know her first match in
Um,
NXT?
was she wearing the mask?
Was she wearing the mask? I don't
No.
believe so.
No. Hold on.
Because now, listen, when we start, her character, when she first starts in NXT, is essentially a fan. Again, if far cry from what she is today, but she was essentially this fan, starstruck by everybody.
Was it Alicia Fox?
No,
I remember her losing to
she
her
it's
early
it
on.
it is one of her first matches. Her first match was against Paige,
Yeah, okay, makes sense.
or Saraya, now known as Saraya.
Soraya.
Saraya. There's a specific way to pronounce that. I knew it was.
I quit.
I
I
knew
don't
it
know
was.
why
It was one of the two.
that whole women's NWO thing is
Oh yeah, the outcasts,
I don't know if that's
whatever
working for me,
going
brother.
on, brother.
Which is a shame because I like everyone
Yeah.
involved.
So she has a few things. Her first notable match in NXT comes August 21st of 2013. She faced the then champ. Can you name who it is? It was the reigning Divas champion at the time. That's how far back this goes.
AJ Lee.
There you go.
I remember that match.
Yep, because right, she comes out, hey, big fan, blah blah blah. They do the you almost wins a title, so
Mm-hmm.
she's clearly this like big baby face, starstruck by everything.
She's the
And
hugger,
right, right, I'm a
the
hugger.
doctor of hugonomics,
Right, exactly. And like
the
this
hugster.
this character does go on for a while, and I feel like I wonder if, and this is where that NXT crowd comes into play. There's a lot of I think negative in wrestling of being in front of the same audience every single week. I don't think you get I guess as far as like management, I suppose, I don't think you get a fair assessment of everybody, because if that crowd doesn't like somebody, they're just going to shit on it, and
It'll stay
it's
that way
exactly right.
because it's
Whereas
the same people over and over.
exactly right, it's the same people that go to those shows week in week out. You could argue that a lot of this, and I've heard a lot of those criticisms of TNA Impact a lot of the time when they were just in Orlando all the time, literally the same people every week. And I agree with it. I think you may not get a fair assessment of people, but in Bayley's case, it went the opposite, where I think they took
That
this
character
character.
worked.
Right, it worked for that audience. And then it does translate to the TV show, because obviously that's your other audience. No matter what, you always have a TV audience.
Yep.
But I think for her, this, and I don't know what the ultimate plan is. Of course, you bring everybody in and you want them to succeed, but is Bayley just this lovable character, always loses? Maybe if you don't have that NXT crowd, what's to come later? Maybe it doesn't materialize.
It
But
either doesn't materialize or happens a hell of a lot sooner.
right. Yeah, exactly. Like maybe she's like down the card,
Given the management at the time, it probably would have been the former.
Yeah, right. Because I don't believe it was full on Triple H just yet at this point. I think he was having influence, but I think a lot of this was Dusty Rhodes, if I'm not mistaken. This era of NXT, this
I
early.
believe this era was still Dusty Rhodes.
Mhm.
Baby.
Right.
Yes. Yes, it was. Okay.
Okay. We got there.
I need
But
to
you know,
sub
and
that in.
like she kind of like, not to say she doesn't do a lot early on, but it is a lot of the same, you know, it's a lot of the same stuff. She is getting matches. You know, she's wrestling on, you know, like at the time the different takeovers. You know, she's getting, you know, number one contenders matches. She is winning them. She's getting title shots. She's coming close, but just can't finish the job
Let's
to
not
get that
forget.
NXT women. And
Let's not
sorry, it was the
forget. She's
NXT
won the.
women's title.
Yeah, she's won the Four Horsewomen.
She is with who else?
Do I call her a current name? Fuck it.
Just
Sasha Banks,
right.
Charlotte Flair,
Mm,
Becky Lynch.
there you go.
And we never got that supposed, what was it?
We only got
Shayna
3.
Baszler, Ronda Rousey.
Right.
Yeah, the
Right. Yeah, we only ever got like 3 of them in the same match.
Jessamaya Duke
Right.
and Maria Shafir.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
I guess
Jessamaya Duke's actually like outside, like on Up, Up, Down, Down was like chills for hell. I liked her.
right,
Anyway, moving
exactly.
on.
And I suppose you can get like a taste of that going on if you get like Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, or go if they ever go against like Charlotte and Becky Lynch, which may never happen, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like Bayley's kind of, you know, there she, you know, so like I said, I'm just gonna say that I think this is a case of that NXT crowd making her, translating on TV, pushing her up the card. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, you know, if you agree. Yeah, you agree. You seem, you know, you agree with that,
It was a very positive gimmick
right,
in a time of just not
right,
straight up positive gimmicks like that.
right,
I mean, Kylie Ray was a ways off, I think.
yeah, yeah. Well, right. Well, because she was always kind of in and out. Like I remember her being a big deal on, I guess, All In, like
Yes.
that first, you know, show. So yeah, definitely a similar character for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh no,
But it,
that's blatantly like, yeah.
mhm.
But yeah. Speaking of the Four Horsewomen, pretty sure the 4 of them had a banger of a title match too.
Yeah, I believe. Let me see if it was at the specific takeover. No, not this one. No, I mean, they all had matches to, you know, with each other in this era. I think that's how they all kind of got built up. Like you
Right,
figure
but
Sasha Banks was the champion, Charlotte was the champion at one point. Did Becky Lynch ever win the NXT?
Becky Lynch is the only one that didn't.
Right, right. Which is crazy. Which is crazy to think that she didn't win, but you know,
And
I
part of
think
me almost kind of thinks that she should take a trip back down there. I don't know.
she's too big now. I think.
Now she is, yeah.
I mean, I think like a few years ago when they did it with like Rhea Ripley and Charlotte, it was a different story even then. But obviously now they're on to the whole new era of NXT that they have now that they're kind of building up. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
Again, hey, never say never, I guess.
but
But
yes, there was also a fatal 4-way with the 4 horsewomen, and it was at Takeover Rival.
okay. See, I was
And
looking at
just very quickly, who what was the main event
of the rival.
of Rival? Yeah.
I know this is one of the first takeovers, right?
It's up there.
Is Adrian Neville the champion?
No.
Here's what I found.
Oh, here we go again. Good old
Series answering for you.
Good old series wrong every time on this damn watch, and it scares the shit out of me because it's loud as shit.
They're very relevant right now.
Huh. NXT champion? Son of a bitch. Wow. Was it Kevin Owens at the time? Or was it Sami Zayn?
Now put them together.
Oh, so it was Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens.
It was
in
that
the main
yes,
event.
it was when Kevin Owens murder death killed Sammy to win the title.
Okay, yep. which was after with the
Kept
takeover
powerbombing the
prior.
shit out of him.
Yeah, the takeover prior was that amazing heel turn. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But yes, so there was that fatal four-way match, which not only was an amazing match, actually on a side note, it was kind of a coming out for Becky Lynch starting to kind of get established. But Bayley, she had a bunch of matches. I remember she had a feud with Emma when Emma turned heel.
I remember that.
Another good heel turn.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to think of when did she finally like was it when Sasha was champion that she finally started getting the title?
Bayley, yes. So I mean, we can, if you want to just kind of fast forward
No, let's
to.
back up a bit.
Okay.
Okay. What were you about to go on to?
Oh well, I mean, I was going to fast forward to take over Brooklyn, but
Okay, let's fast forward to take
if
over
we
Brooklyn.
because it's a lot of the same build up, and the story was awesome. I mean, like Sasha Banks, big time heel, Bayley, the big baby face, which and it just worked. Like, and I was at the the Brooklyn Takeover show, and the match that they had for the title was just incredible, and it should have been the main event.
That was a 5-star.
And like we're in the audience, and it's like we just had this awesome match, and then the main event still to come was Kevin Owens and Finn Balor in that ladder match for the title, and like nobody was into it. Like the crowd just couldn't get back up for a ladder match with the two guys I just mentioned.
Yeah.
And
that was a good match too. So
yeah, it was a good match, but like
that's just how
like
fucking good that match is. That is, would you put that like in a top 5 of NXT matches?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's fair to have that argument.
Because the story worked so well. Because listen, say what you want about Sasha Banks, but she's an incredible heel.
Yes.
Like everything whether especially at that takeover, she had like the badass entrance, like the car pulling up and the security and this and that. And then I think the other stuff was just, again, and I say this all the time about, wrestlers that they know where, and it's more so for the TV audience, but you can still feel the energy in the arena. But Sasha's very good at, again, knowing where the camera is, knowing when to speak up so that everybody hears you.
Mm-hmm.
And because like when you're just, she's openly just mocking Bayley all the way through the match, it was incredible. And then for Bayley to, of course, get the comeback, get the big win the title, and then of course
I was going to ask, what's better, this or what I assume you're about to get to, hopefully?
the Four Horsewomen kind of reunion in the ring deal.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that happened. Yes, that was a very nice moment.
The not really curtain call, I suppose.
Yes.
The allowed curtain call, I'll say.
Yes. So
that
was a nice moment. But after that,
what are you getting at? Because maybe it's slipping my mind.
Takeover Respect.
Oh, was that Iron Woman?
That was the 30-woman Iron Man match.
And from someone,
and that was the main event.
Yes, and it should have been. And I think, I mean, clearly they knew. Like, hey, all right.
They knew after last time. It's just like, nope,
right.
You two are going on last. You earned it.
And then keep in mind, this is also at a time where not only we're just like the takeover shows starting to be considered better than like the actual main roster pay-per-views, but by a mile. Like,
yes.
It was to the point where like, all right, I'm definitely watching this takeover. But the paper, but like, and this coming on, this was SummerSlam weekend too. So you had this, and then SummerSlam like the next day. And I remember I had I bought these NXT tickets, and I'm like, I'm not getting SummerSlam tickets. I'm good. At the time, it was it was like this weird war of like, why is takeover blah blah blah. It's like, well, because that's how it's going. I don't know, fix your main roster shit. I don't know what to tell you. And this is at a time where like the women's wrestling kind of, I guess, what the evolution, revolution, whatever, I guess it hadn't really taken off just yet on the main roster. So all the good women's wrestling was in NXT. And then it was like,
so
To an
actually wanted
extent.
I wanted to bring that up
Go
for
ahead.
why do you suppose Bayley didn't get called up with the rest of them?
Well, let's see. She wins there. Was she still? Now I got to see like when she lost.
I think she was still the NXT Women's Champion, but it just
Well, so Takeover Dallas is right by. That's right at WrestleMania 32, where the women's match was Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky on Mania. So I think because Bayley was and we were and I remember and we were at that WrestleMania weekend, everybody thought Bayley was going to be one of the call-ups on that Raw after Mania, and she wasn't.
no.
And I think she came shortly thereafter, but
It took a little
it ended up
longer.
taking till the summer.
Yeah, because that was in March. She
Mhm.
March, April. She dropped the title to Asuka, and she held it on for 223 days. So not a
Yeah.
bad title reign.
Right, exactly right. And she beat, she again the Iron Woman match. She beat like Nia Jax, Eva Marie, Carmella, Alexa Bliss. Obviously, we mentioned Asuka beat her for the title, which the right call. I
At the
mean,
time was definitely the right call because
yeah,
Asuka was like at the time the next big thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's
Still
like
one of my favorites.
Bayley was, and it's actually a great debut being a mystery partner for Sasha Banks.
It made so
But
much sense at the time.
right, but it was only and again it was
Oh,
the one off.
still does.
She was still on NXT. And then she ends up getting called up to Raw, it looks like after SummerSlam. So she gets to Raw and kind of, I mean, she doesn't, I don't want to say she kind of just like bounces around, but I feel like she did sort of, she won the title, but she kind of was struggling to sort of find footing, I suppose.
And it kind of took a while to even get there.
Right. And this is, of course, at the same time where a lot of NXT call ups just would not work on the main roster. And then they would just be given up on.
Right.
So, I think, and this is sort of more the early days of this where we weren't quite in. I don't think we were necessarily in the territory of like, oh shit, this person's getting called up, they're screwed. Where like that was like the running joke of every time somebody would get called up from NXT. Like they would be unreal in NXT, and then it's like, ah, shit, I'm getting called up. Well, all right then.
Oh well, it's fun while it lasted.
So it was weird how that was the case a lot of the time. Like I don't know, but like what do you think was it? Was it just there's so many people here, like this person just doesn't fit in for what they want? Because like why did a lot of those NXT call ups just fail?
I don't. I
Is it just you can't explain it?
Vince did not know. Vince couldn't understand what made them big in NXT
That's fair.
because he wanted to just make them big in how he sees it, not
Right.
how Dusty Rhodes or at the time Triple H or whichever era was.
Right. But it never made any sense to me. And obviously, we get to Bayley, but Bayley could have been very easily just, all right, well, you're just the same character. And it just
For a while she was.
No, but and I will say a lot of the problem could sometimes be the audience because just because like not everybody that watches Raw and SmackDown watched NXT. Still the case now. So like for a lot of them, this person, it's a mystery to them. And I think for people that loved NXT and they didn't see it translate up to the main roster, you forget like, oh yeah, it's a different audience. Perhaps not everybody's watching this. Not everybody's watching these takeovers.
Right.
So when you're introducing this person, you almost have to have them like, sort of be a fresh start to an extent. Like, I remember being that way. Like when the Shield debuted, I had never heard of these guys. But if you watched NXT at the time, which was just on Hulu, like, no, they're on, like, Seth Rollins is the first NXT champion. And, the Shield were,
Rollins was actually the only Rollins I did know. One, because NXT, two, I knew about Tyler Black.
Mm-hmm. But but it was weird. Like, so I guess maybe that was happening as to why maybe some of these NXT characters just didn't work when they would get called up. But I mean, listen, either way, like Bayley gets called up, and she again, I don't want to call it like floundering, because again, she wins the title. But again, and then
She hands Charlotte
and
her first pay-per-view loss.
right, exactly. And it's like, the first member, but I don't know, man. It's like, she's in, it's like you keep fast forwarding. Like, I don't want to say 2017 was just like not a lot happened, but that's kind of where she was at.
Pretty much.
Like she beat, she wins the title at WrestleMania 33, loses it 2 months later. And then it's kind of out of the picture a little bit because she gets hurt, separated shoulder, returns from injury September of, September of 17, a month later. But, then she loses at the next pay-per-view. And then, you're just kind of going along, and then it doesn't really get her anywhere. We get to 2018. She's in the Royal Rumble, gets eliminated by Sasha Banks, so she's doing things. Like she's in decent spots, but doesn't really, nothing really comes of it.
I remember
until
her feuding with Absolution.
Yes. No, they did, because I think that was around the time where the tag titles there yet.
We were just getting to the first Royal Rumble.
No, I know, because she was on that. She comes in 29, she eliminated, like I said, Sasha Banks eliminates her. So you're almost like you're sort of trying to reignite that feud there. But then like the heel turn sort of never happens, or they tease it, but it doesn't happen fully. But
the women's tag titles, by the way, are very short. No. Hold on. No, never mind. They're not that close.
But they were. That's what you get.
No, they're about a year later.
Go figure.
Yep.
See, this is where like you would think certain things that in wrestling I would have like a good timeline of. And then there's shit that I'm just way off on. It's incredible. Like,
And that's why we do this.
Yep.
Well,
we surprise ourselves when we do that, when we do this research and we have these notes in front of us. What year was that? Huh? But again, that's why when we do these, I don't like, all right, let's go match by match. On this Raw, she beat blah blah blah.
Nah, just notable stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But like, and it's not to say, but I think like, it's not tough to make stuff special in women's wrestling. I just think like when you have the two titles, sometimes you don't have a lot of people going for it. Do the title reign, not that I don't want to say it, I don't want to diminish it and say like, do the title reigns mean, are they like less special or something in the women? But I feel like, certain people just win the title all the time. Like
just say Charlotte. Just say Charlotte. Come
all
on.
Right. Is she 14-time champ?
She might be at 15 actually. She came back and beat Ronda Rousey one night.
That's true. That's true.
And then lost to Rhea. Rhea, yeah, which fucking banger of a women's match.
Oh yeah, go back. Yeah, it was 6 weeks ago. Go back and watch it. It's on.
Side note: Rhea Ripley, one of the best things in wrestling. Period. Right now,
dude. I've said it. She could do the. I've said it enough. She could do the Tessa Blanchard run at the world title if she wanted to.
Yes, agreed.
She's technically on, are they, by the way, again, it's another side note, are they going to do the Raw and SmackDown, title switches, or they're just kind of leaving it alone?
I think they're leaving it alone and just letting the titles change how.
Okay, so then, all right, so listen, Rhea's on Raw. If they ever want to go there, they could.
Because I don't think they want to interrupt Bianca Belair's on a record run right now.
Oh, yeah, no, and I agree. They don't want to mess with that.
And that would be a really stupid way to end that.
Yeah, agreed.
Which, quick side note, remember when I was talking about the new world championship?
Yes.
And the lineage that was going away?
Right.
So apparently that lineage is going to pick up from the big gold belt that Triple H won in 2002. 2002.
You mean handed?
Handed, yes.
Okay, thank you. Just want to
Precisely.
clarify.
Which to me basically is, so it's the WCW championship. Got it.
Yes. Yep. I mean, it's a fair point that they do that. So
Yeah, we could talk about that on a bonus clip.
that's true.
Back to Bayley.
So I kind of like, again, they're still, bouncing around, blah, blah, blah. So let's see.
It's basically, it took it till about, I do remember that Bayley attacked a moment I enjoyed. Bayley attacked Banks after a match and told her you ain't shit.
Yep.
And we were all
That was
hoping
funny.
that eventually she was going to come out and be introduced as "It's Bayley, bitch," and the whole crowd just chanting, "You ain't shit, you ain't shit."
What could have been?
What could have been?
What could have
But
been?
no, but no, not that, but something to that effect will come. So that happened. Everyone thought she was going to turn heel. Instead, she had to go to counseling.
Yes.
And then we get the Boss and Hug connection. The face version, I believe.
Yeah. Like, it was good. And again, so like they end up being the first women's tag team champions, which, man,
those titles cursed.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Those poor titles are cursed because they're vacant again as of today because Liv Morgan got hurt. And
that happened like earlier in the week, I think.
Yeah. And they're doing like a
as of
next
release of this
something.
episode, they're crowning new champions.
Right. Oh, if you're sorry, yes, because this will be coming out on Mondays now. If anyone noticed, we used to put the podcast on Fridays, but it's going to be on Monday now because it's just also easier.
Also, CJ surprise.
I kind of mentioned it last time. Sort of. Maybe not while we recorded, but yeah.
Yeah, probably. It's not going to be a shock. Anyway.
No.
So yeah, they become the tag team champions. Who did they drop the titles to?
Well, they lost at WrestleMania to the Iconics, and I think the bigger deal with that,
that's who they lost the titles to,
right, at WrestleMania. But the bigger deal with it was like them essentially. I mean, again, if you want to believe the dirt sheets, it's it's them throwing a fit because
kicking and screaming allegedly.
Right, I guess it's because they had to drop it. But it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to call, like, whether you like it or not, or you agree with people that kind of like, whether they lash out or whatever, throw a temper tantrum, whatever you feel like calling it. Because clearly we see who was behind it because it happened again. But like Sasha Banks did it. This was the first kind of tantrum about whatever the hell the problem was. And then they did it again, her and Naomi, which when they did it the second time, it made even less sense. Because it's like, you're the tag champs.
Depends on if you believe what they were claiming the plan was.
Right. I think, well, to go to like the Sasha and Naomi one, I think they were going to like face each other in some kind of like title tournament thing.
It was going to be like a 5-way match or something like that. Naomi was going to pin Sasha Banks. Naomi was going to wrestle for the title at Hell in a Cell, lose.
Yes.
Following month would have been Sasha Banks, lose. And they would have been tag team champions through all of this.
Right.
So,
but I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I don't get it, but
I do and I don't.
Right. But I don't know, man. I'm just like, I feel like the last thing you can do is like just walk out. Like, we've clearly, granted, if you're good enough, it doesn't matter. You can get away with whatever you want.
Look at CM Punk.
Ding, ding, ding.
Another clip coming?
Perhaps.
Possibly.
Well, it might already be out. Check the YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, that means we just locked ourselves into recording something after this. Little inside baseball, folks.
Moving on.
Yeah. But like, but I guess the Bayley stuff, like, I don't understand. Like you're just gonna lay down. You're gonna piss and moan about dropping the titles. Like, I'm sorry, I don't get it. Like,
shortly after that, she got dropped to the SmackDown. I know that happened. Oh yeah, and then she
No.
won Money in the Bank.
She did. Go figure.
And I believe that was the same night cash in.
That's usually how they do it with the women's Money in the Bank, to be fair.
Most of the time, yeah. To be fair.
To be fair. Yeah. Well, and it was probably better to go to SmackDown. Again, that was the best they could do at changing shit up than even now. But so as part of the 2019 WWE Superstar Shakeup, because I guess we didn't want to use draft. So Bayley moves over. Again, it's always good to freshen things up, but it was always funny to me. All right, I guess you can be on SmackDown now, unless we forget, and then you can go on Raw.
Yep.
Whatever
and then we'll just make up a rule on the fly.
Yep. But then dudes can just go where they want. Blah. I don't know. Blah blah
Cats
blah.
and dogs getting along.
Yeah. None of this really matters. Sure. Who cares? But yeah, she wins. She wins Money in the Bank. She cashed it in the same night. Beat Charlotte. Surprise, surprise. Charlotte was the champion. Shocker. She beat Charlotte. Then Bayley's SmackDown Women's Champ in 2019. So
the reason she was champ is because Charlotte didn't want to work Tuesdays.
Yeah. I mean, you did say Paul Heyman in your intro, so you did get a Heyman reference out there. Good job. Not hard to do,
sir.
Thank you for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So she feuds with Alexa Bliss during that summer.
Yes.
So and then Bayley's still the champ. I'm trying to find. Let's see. Oh man, and we got to Fire and Desire. Remember that?
Was that basically just Absolution without Paige?
I believe so.
Yeah, pretty much. And everyone thought Mandy Rose was going to be the next big thing, and then she turned out to be the next big thing, and then she was naked and fired.
Fair, yes.
Yes.
Again, as I say every time, DMs are open. We're accepting links.
Science.
For research.
Research
only.
Real science. Anyway.
Research.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think. So they feuded with Alexa Bliss. And then so that was around the time that did she finally turn heel?
Oh. Fucking what are we barking at? It's fucking 11:30 at night. And everybody's quiet except me talking. Good Lord.
Eesh.
Dogs. Great, but shut the hell up sometimes.
So I remember she had the title, and then towards the end of the year, she lost it to Charlotte.
Huh?
But then she got it back. I think it was like a week or two, later.
Right.
Coming out with short hair and putting a pickaxe to the wacky waving inflatable arm tube man.
So yes, I wanted to get to this heel turn because, I mean, what better way to turn heel than to cut up your inflatables?
Yes.
And cut your hair.
Yes.
And I honestly I loved all of it. I still love it today.
Mm-hmm.
With the whole the holier than now, I'm a role model for these kids.
Ding dong, hello.
Exactly right. All that. How do I reach these kids?
This is one of Bayley's heel turn is one of the best career revivals of the modern era.
And it happened at a great time because even though it feels like it was a long time ago, this heel turn happens 6 months before the pandemic starts.
Yep.
And then, all that fun stuff happens.
Welcome to the Thunderdome, bitch.
Yeah, precisely.
Actually, we don't even get there right away. We
don't.
Just have,
We're in.
Welcome to the high school gym, bitch.
You're right. The empty performance center. Blah blah blah. We're all bored. Well, she did a lot of I mean, speaking of temper tantrum, she would just that was a lot of her thing is she would just throw temper tantrums.
Mm-hmm.
So,
When
you know, and
art imitates life.
right, exactly. Um, but but this was all great, and it was perfect timing. You figure at this point she's had this essentially same type of character for like 5-6 years,
At least.
and it's like, look, you're not like nobody's like Hulk Hogan anymore, where it's like I can't, or I suppose no, I don't even want to say John Cena because John Cena still would get like booed and stuff, and they kind of led on that, without really, like, all right, just go get booed. You're not turning heel, but you can still go get the booze and just play to all of it, whatever you got to do. Whereas, like, I don't know, I don't necessarily think the fans even like turned. I just think it was like you said, perfect timing for a heel turn, much needed. Because again, if you ran your course on Raw doing that character, it was only going to be a matter of time before the character ran its course on SmackDown. You would have gone through whatever matchups you could have had, and then it would have just been like, okay, now what? Well, we got the now what, because again, awesome fucking heel turn.
By the way, I just before we continue on with the heel turn, we did gloss
Yes.
over the fact that when Bayley did finally win the SmackDown Women's title, she became the first women's Grand Slam champion.
That's fair. NXT, Raw, SmackDown, and the tag titles.
That is correct. Don't know. I think there's, was it her, Asuka, Sasha? Definitely Charlotte, because it's Charlotte.
Alexa Bliss? Was she NXT champion or no?
Nah, she was never NXT champion.
She never won it. No shit.
No. Hey, neither did Becky.
Yeah, that's fair. So then, yeah, probably Sasha Banks.
Sasha did win the SmackDown title, right?
I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So it would have been Sasha, basically the three of the Four Horsewomen, and Asuka, basically.
But
yeah.
Let's
Anyway.
see.
So
Bayley, yeah. So at least Bayley won the title, as a heel, which was great, because again, this all stemmed from Charlotte questioning Bayley's credibility as champion, and then the following week is when she comes out and just destroys everything.
Yep.
And then wins a title. What better way to do that?
No,
and she was right, and she's a champ for a long time.
Yep.
Like, I mean, again, we talk about like the by the way, I love that at one point she used the Vince thing, life sucks and then you die. She said it on TV, which I think is hilarious.
Yep.
Just a hilarious fucking callback at the time.
I'm trying to remember when. So she was champion for a while. She surpassed Charlotte's. She actually surpassed Charlotte's record at the time as longest women's champion. And somewhere in there, we get the 2-woman power trip.
Yeah.
Bayley and Banks, the Boston Hug connection, now heels, win the tag titles from Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross.
Yep.
And Bayley is a double champ.
Well deserved.
Yeah, well deserved. And then later on, Sasha would win the Raw Women's title, and then we had the 2-women power trip.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was well deserved. But again, and then we get into the pandemic. And again, I kind of said it before, she was, if not one of the MVPs of that whole era. Maybe Seth Rollins on the male side and Bayley on the women's side. If he needed to choose,
Drew McIntyre.
That's also true. He was a champ throughout it.
He tried.
Yeah, he did.
Still deserves a reign in front of an audience.
Maybe. Well,
if he's still with the company.
Listen, whether it's Drew McIntyre or it's Drew Galloway, I think he'll get that somewhere.
Yeah, and they were fucking smart. They would keep it as Drew Galloway.
Well, I mean,
I still think he's money.
No, so do I. But no, if he leaves, he has to be Drew Galloway.
Yeah, well, obviously, and he'll just go be in the upper card in AEW, like freaking else.
I hope if he went there, they wouldn't do the let's book you for a month and forget about you shit.
No, no.
Well, good lord,
He's
they're
too
gonna have two
he's
fucking
too good for
shows.
that.
They're gonna have more than enough hours of TV at this point.
Yes, exactly. God help us.
Mm.
We'll talk about that in a YouTube clip. Anyway,
Check the YouTube channel, everybody.
so we got them uh the 2 women power trip, but then they lost the titles to Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax.
Like, it's not. I'm not. This isn't a knock on anybody, but some of the tag teams they come up with, it reminds me of the like just the tag team wrestling in like the late 90s, early 2000s, where there really were no tag teams, and they're like, let's just pull 2 names out of a hat and see what happens.
Yep.
Like I'm trying to think of like ridiculous tag teams in the Steve Blackman and Al Snow, even though although that was entertaining as hell.
I will not have you disparage the good goddamn name of Head Cheese.
Oh god, yeah, no, god damn it. They had their fucking name and everything too.
Yep.
But that's a bad example. I'm trying to think of like another just like, but like the deal.
Anyone
It's just
Stone
like,
Cold was a tag team champion with.
well, you keep saying we'll look at the 2-man power trip.
But besides them, that made sense at the time, even though
Yeah, that's true.
Still,
He was like that. He like won. There was like a '97 thing where like him and Shawn Michaels were like
him and Shawn Michaels. He won him with Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Dude Love, and then probably the Triple H was the last one.
Stone Cold has been tag champ like a million times, and it never mattered.
Yeah, it never mattered at all.
It was just to move a storyline. Here's these belts to move a storyline. That's all.
Exactly.
And then like, all right, fine. I guess like the Dudleys will come in and we'll figure out a way to, and then we'll make TLC 11 and carry on.
Yes.
By the way, who was side one? Who was if you go to what was it? I believe it was TLC 4.
The match?
Yes, there was that fourth tag team. Because you know what the 3
I know
of them
what the
were.
first 2. I know what the first 3 are. Because the first 2 are Edge, Christian, Hardys, and Dudleys. The third one was them plus Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho.
There it is. That's what I'm thinking of. Yes,
the third one. That was the third one.
Third one is what I'm thinking of.
That was a fucking amazing match. I remember at the time thinking that like that was the best TLC match.
Because I remember because like I don't really remember it, and the fact that it was just on a random SmackDown is even crazier.
Yeah.
But then because I remember being like, wait, I saw a clip and I'm like, Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit. When the hell did that happen?
I want to say the 4th TLC though was Kane and the Hurricane.
Okay, the fact that you're recalling this is pretty crazy. But go on.
It was supposed to be Kane and the Hurricane. Dennis, I hope you're listening. Were the tag team champions. Hurricane gets taken out before the match starts. So
if you can name the other teams, go for it.
Yeah. RVD and Jeff Hardy.
Which is not, I'm not going to say a weird combo because they clearly, it makes sense. Those two would be put together at some point.
Bubba Ray and Spike Dudley.
Well, I wonder why Spike's there.
Christian and someone. I want to say Jericho.
Ding.
It was Jericho. Yeah. I think that was like not quite the anti-Americans yet, but kind of. Yes. Remember that?
God. I do.
Anyway, back
another
to
sidetrack. Back to Bayley. I mean,
she tried to feud with Hulk Hogan and Titus O'Neil.
God, they did that, huh? They really came out at that.
The two of those hosted a WrestleMania at
it was
a
so
weird time for Hogan, which has basically been the last 20 years.
It involves the letter N.
Yes.
That's all you need to know.
And Bubba the Love Sponge.
You can do. Oh God, they're doing a show on I think it's on TNT, which means I'm hoping it's streaming on Max. It's about like these, like, I don't know if it's all like sports, like like investigative stuff, but one of them is about like Bubba the Love Sponge, like playing like Hulk Hogan sex tape clips or whatever he did. And
Yeah, I'm pretty
so
sure that was Bubba's wife.
oh,
And
oh
I'm pretty
man,
sure he was cool with it.
that's okay. That there's so
Yeah,
many,
yeah,
there's so much.
yeah.
There's a documentary that's going to be out about it on TNT at some point, and yeah, I need to watch it only because you said that it reminded me of it.
Things that make you go. Moo.
Like so it's called Rich and Shameless on TNT, and yeah, it's gonna. Oh, sorry, it's Hulk Hogan versus Gawker. Remember that website?
Yes, I remember that lawsuit.
Yep, yep. So yeah, there's a whole thing about it now.
Yep.
I don't know if it's out yet. Oh no, it did air. So hopefully it's out there at some point because it aired like a week ago. So if you have, I guess, the TNT app or something, or I hope it's on Max, but I guess find a way to watch it. I can't tell you if it's good or not, but I imagine it is. But anyway, so that's out there.
I will say the actually before the two hosts, it did the two woman power trip did culminate in Hell in a Cell between um Bayley and Sasha Banks for Bayley's title. And Bayley would lose after holding the title for how long was it? 380 days.
Long ass time. Good for her.
Long ass time.
I'm happy that she got like a year plus title reign.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like in this time, the women's title, not hot potato, like,
Yeah.
well, like the fucking AEW TNT title is. But it seemed like they could never really establish someone as like this dominant champ. Like it seems like they're doing it now. At least, like clearly today, you look at Bianca Belair, and I imagine Rhea Ripley is going to have that title for a while.
Oh, I think Rhea Ripley's going to be, even if she drops the SmackDown title because she's on Raw, she'll just get the Raw title like immediately and hold that forever.
If they gave her like a Roman Reigns length title run, like who would be against that?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, there you go. Fair enough.
You know what? If she was on SmackDown, still have her beat Austin Theory. Put the U.S. title on her.
This is what I'm saying. I got look for something on YouTube about this
because it's believable.
Yeah, so this is what I want. This the check our YouTube for this because we clearly have stuff to say and I don't want to do it on this podcast.
Yes. So that culminated in that match. WrestleMania insults Hulk Hogan, Titus O'Neil, which just the two of them being out there. Then she started feuding with because now we're definitely going to do a big time jump. We are. She starts feuding with Bianca Belair, speaking of the devil, for the SmackDown Women's title. She faces her at WrestleMania, loses. No, WrestleMania Backlash, which thank God they dropped that.
I was going to say, yeah, it's just Backlash now.
Finally. Now, if you could just bring back the set from the 2000 show, that'd be fantastic. With the hooks and shit. Anyway.
Yeah. Also bring back the SmackDown Fist while we're at it.
Yes, absolutely. And then they had a Hell in a Cell match. She lost that one. She was supposed to face her in an I Quit match at Money in the Bank and tore her ACL.
Yeah, and that's always a bummer, man. Like I know, I mean, well, we're jumping ahead, but like I know Dakota Kai just tore her ACL
again.
Right, exactly. But and it's just
she got injured at the same time as Liv Morgan. And,
yes.
But apparently, Dakota's is much worse.
Yeah, I mean, listen, a torn ACL is like you look at football players, and it's like you're out for the year.
Season's done. Later.
Like you're okay, like you're right, like you get hurt in training camp. It's like it's still see you next year.
Yep.
So like, and for wrestling terms,
and we would not see her until next year.
Yeah, and it's like for wrestling, you can at least like get away with it. You can sort of get your way through it if you truly need somebody for at least like promos or stare downs or managerial, even something. You can at least get away with stuff with the wrestling, but I guess for Bayley's sake, it was okay. Go home, heal up, and we'll figure it out. And like she was truly out for a year, and again, we're doing this time jump from 2021 to 2022, and
SummerSlam.
yep, and what happens in all this? Well, the
Right
short
after
lived.
the banger of a match between. Wait, what?
Well, I was going to say the short-lived, as we would come to know, is a short-lived retirement of a certain old man. But because if a certain old man is still in charge, does this little faction even exist? If a certain old man is still in
No.
charge, there you go.
No.
So you could say that, Bayley, I mean, I guess Bayley would have came back at some point, but she comes back with, she comes back. She gets the awesome pop just because she came back. And then Io Sky, Dakota Kai, two who were essentially, they were released, right?
So Dakota Kai was released,
Yes.
and like earlier that year, or maybe it might have been during the pandemic.
Right. At some point. Right.
And Io
I guess-
Sky, she was still under contract, but
Oh,
everyone
that's right.
assumed she was on her way. She was just letting it run out and go back to Japan.
And go back to Japan. Yeah. But here they come. And
Mhm.
you're like, holy shit. It was just one of those like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit.
I was just like, this is three of my favorite women in one
Because
group?
and listen, and this is one of the first. This is the first pay-per-view in the Triple H era.
Mhm.
So you
What
see
a
right
fucking way
away.
to start it.
So and this was the first match on that show, and you're like,
Banger of a match too.
yeah, who was in that
Becky
match
Lynch
again?
versus
Yes.
Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair.
Yeah,
Those two had some. Those two between that match and the WrestleMania match, those were banger matches.
No, those two were always very good. Again, I don't like. I know CJ said it on here a lot. I don't understand the Bianca Belair hate now. I think in NXT you kind of had an argument of like, well, what's she up to? But you want to talk about somebody improving immensely over the course of a few years? That's what she's done.
I don't know. Right now, she's starting to get a couple boos.
I don't know. Well, I don't get it. Well, I mean, people always tire of characters, which is incredible to me. But
well,
like,
there's rumors of her with the Street Profits turning heel, but
I'm with it though. I think if you put them together, they'd be awesome heels.
Yeah, why not?
I'm here for it.
Maybe somehow that's how we get to the titles
switching or something,
moving around somehow.
We'll figure it out. But so they return as Damage Control, and they were kind of doing their thing. I mean,
so this is what was weird to me. Io Sky and Dakota Kai win the tag titles fairly quickly because, of course,
right.
But Bayley would go on to have 3 title matches in a row against Bianca Belair and lose every single one of them.
Yes.
And at no point win a women's title during any of this. It just feels kind of weird that the leader didn't really accomplish much.
Well, I also feel like that's kind of like I don't want to say that's how a faction works, but if you always want to like plant that seed of like, well, the leader has everyone else do their dirty work. I mean, it's almost like an opposite bloodline, I suppose.
Kind of.
Like, okay, well, Roman's the man, but he needs all the help. He needs the cheap wins, blah blah blah. And in this case, maybe you could say like, oh, if there was ever like a turn, you could say like, hey, we tried to help you, you just suck, or something like that. That's my guess if I have to think of what they're going for.
But they have multiple matches against each other, and then they compete in war games.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't the first women's war games match, right?
Well, I think they've done them in NXT.
Well, in NXT, yeah, but I meant on the. Well, no,
this is the
first.
Well, this is the first
on the main roster.
I was gonna say, yeah, this is the first one, on the main roster.
Which apparently is now Survivor Series going forward. Which, okay, fine.
They took out the War Games name.
I don't know if they took out the War Games name, but apparently the gimmick moving forward for Survivor Series is War Games.
Okay, good. Okay, I was making sure that that's what you said because they have to. Yeah.
They'd be in that. They would team with Rhea Ripley and Nikki Cross.
Right.
Finally going back to being, the psychotic girl, which
Thank God.
I was always a fan of.
Thank God.
And they actually lost against Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Mia Yim, and Becky Lynch.
Yep.
And then they Royal Rumble would be shortly after. Did they even really do anything at WrestleMania this year?
They were in that 6-woman tag.
Oh yes. So they were going to feud with Lita, Becky Lynch. Well, they've been feuding with Becky for a while at this point.
Yeah. It's almost like always ongoing, it feels like, with like someone.
But Becky
it's like they can always come back to it.
Yep. Becky would win the tag. Becky and Lita will win the tag titles.
Yep.
That actually happened.
It worked.
My favorite woman now combined with my favorite woman wrestler then. Even if she does not nearly as good. But hey, we got hot heel Trish back.
Which fantastic heel, by the way.
Fantastic fucking heel.
Forgot how good she was. She was a good heel back in the day. Forgot how good she was at heel. It's been a minute.
And she's still, she can hang with these girls.
Yeah.
She might not be on their level, like, skill wise, but she can hang with them.
But like, it's another thing, like I said last week about how, like, when we were doing AJ Styles, and I'm like, AJ Styles is 45 and like still going strong. And it's like 20 years prior, they considered someone who was like 40 to be just like, look at this. Look at this fucking old man. You can almost say it's the same deal with them.
How old is Trish?
She's got to be late 40s. No, she's been around since the late 90s.
She debuted in 2000.
Thought it was earlier. She's 47.
Okay, there you go. He's even older than AJ Styles.
Yeah, right. So it's not, it's listen to still be going that to
aged
still be
like
going that
wine.
exactly.
So, but anyway, so that feud happened, and then we are where we are now. Really,
right? We've made it to today. I think Bayley, this was a fun one to chat about, just because like you see like the evolution in the character. You see again, it's a great example of crowds can lift I feel like it's very cliche to say when they're like, oh, the most important thing is the audience, and everyone says that, well, Vince or no one ever listens to the audience, but I think this is a case of they listen to the audience, because if it wasn't
Triple H listens to the audience.
Well, I agree with you. I think I think at this point Triple H listens to the audience. I mean, look at these last string of pay-per-views and how they're being booked.
Yeah,
like they're
yes, you could tell Vince is still getting his grubby hands on some of it, but
yeah,
you could tell that
it's Triple H's show, and I feel like,
thank God.
Right. I mean, I don't care who you are. You'd be crazy to be like, oh, hey, you're doing awesome. Yoink.
And also, I think that rumor had it was like the executives at who bought them again? Endeavor. Yeah. Supposedly some of the high ups at Endeavor went to a Raw taping, saw how Vince was basically rewriting everything.
Yeah.
And ripping up the script, and like were not and they were non.
Well, like I said, hopefully that rumor
was a terrible episode,
true.
if I recall.
It was, and I think, and everybody overreacted, but I think they righted the ship. Like, and again, we're getting off again, but like Backlash was awesome. All that stuff, and
Saudi shows probably going to be good.
Listen, like I said, regardless of what you think about the Saudi stuff, Night of Champions is looking decent. Although when you listen to this, it would have passed, so we'll have a new world champion then, because we're recording this on Wednesday, May 24th. That event is in 3 days, and this podcast is going to come out on Memorial Day. Yep. On May 29th, I think that is. So you're listening to this on Memorial Day. So thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you for your service. Also, congratulations to new world champion Seth Rollins. And I
Hey,
really hope
wait a minute.
I hope I
Wait a
just jinxed
minute.
myself because I want AJ Styles to win.
Oh, there you go. Fair.
So
That's
I just
fair.
covered my bases.
Or I'll tell you, Roman Reigns comes down and spears everybody. No, just kidding. Or am I?
Don't rule it out.
I can't rule anything out.
That's also day 1000 of his title reign,
Something might happen.
or at least as far
We'll
as the
see.
Universal title goes.
We'll see what happens. But listen, Bayley's awesome. There's clear, like, she's clearly still, like, it's, we're clearly not talking about some retired wrestler. We're not talking about some over the hill wrestler by any means.
I'm just kind of wondering where she goes from here, especially with
I think
Kai on the shelf.
I mean, I'm not saying she turns babyface again, but you could always go back to it.
Yeah. If you turned her face again, you can't go back to the hugger.
I think you could do it. I think you could make it special. I don't think you'd have to do it. I think you could do it once. I think if she turned face again in the future, and then you get to, if she's in a big spot at
like a WrestleMania moment.
Right. Like, that's what I mean. Like, if she's at like a SummerSlam or WrestleMania, whatever you get to, and she's a babyface again, I think you can bring back the wacky inflatable flailing arms men again.
For like a one night only thing. But
Right. For one, but not at all every week.
No, she would need to find some way to turn her character now face, really.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And she could, obviously
she could
do it. You could do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But no, I mean,
all you gotta
I guess
do is Bo leave.
Hey, maybe
the fuck are they?
Maybe, who knows? That's the unknown. That's the biggest mystery in wrestling. Yes, but listen, Bayley's awesome. I think we took an hour plus to say Bayley's awesome, and I feel she's done it. She's done it all. She's been pretty much. You said she's a Grand Slam champion. She's won numerous titles on both shows, tag title on all three brands, and tag titles. So, she has, has this faction. They could always recruit someone else. They could always recruit someone else to Damage Control, because they're all on SmackDown now, right?
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
Shut up.
I'm wondering if maybe there's an NXT call up that.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, I'm trying to think of who
got called up.
Cora Jade could fit with them.
Okay, I'm in agreement there.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like a heel with an attitude who would fit with that group.
Yeah,
and she's the first one that comes to mind.
Cora Jade. I'm with you there.
Yeah,
I think Cora Jade's got a future.
Yeah, so do I. And I mean, like I said, I don't watch NXT weekly, but I do keep. I actually do want to watch that. I kind of want to watch that takeover that they're going to have on. That's this weekend too. These random summer holidays have turned into like big wrestling weekends. Like Memorial Day weekend's always got a bunch between. Well, I guess now they're doing the Saudi show, but then Double or Nothing, and then now they have the NXT takeover like at the same time. I think it's competing. Yep. And then Labor Day weekend's always a big deal. It seems you have All Out, and then like WWE counters with something.
Yep.
I remember the one year. If you need a match to go watch this week, go watch Walter. Walter, remember him?
Walter
versus Tyler Bate from the NXT UK takeover. I forget the event exactly. Blackpool, maybe.
I want to say you're right, but yes, go watch that match right now. Shut this podcast. No, actually,
no. Just get into the podcast. Will be done in a few minutes. You can finish it out. You got to wait till we get our plugs, and then you can go watch it. But do that. But yeah, no, but listen, Bayley's awesome. It was, again, it's fucking cool to go do these little deep dives. I know we didn't have 20 plus years of 20 to almost 25 years of stuff to look through. We only had 10 years of stuff to skim through, minus the injury years. But I think the evolution of that character and the fact that the audience, I think in the first place, is what made her. Because I truly think without that NXT audience, I don't know if she's here now, this successful.
Agreed.
I think she becomes like a jobber that it would eventually have been overshadowed by the other horsewoman, I'll say.
Yes.
And it's just a great story because it's someone who grew up as a fan that just got into it and then they got successful living their dream.
Yep.
That's a great story.
Yep.
And again, still a lot in the tank, still a lot of years left. And I guess as long as
she's
you
got a couple more title reigns of various
agreed.
types in her, whether
Oh,
it be tag team or single.
We're doing an Usos thing again. She's got a title run in her.
Yes.
They're gearing up to set up for a title run. No big deal.
Yes.
But no, this was cool, man. I mean, listen,
Good
Bayley's
episode.
awesome. I'm happy we kind of threw this topic out there last second. Like, what do you think? Yeah, Bayley. Yeah, let's fucking do it.
I said I thought he wasn't being 100% serious, and then he said he was serious, and I was like, oh well, yeah. Fuck it. Why the fuck not? Okay, sure.
No, man, she's great. I love Bayley. I don't know. Any other final thoughts? Like I said, I feel like I kind of said we kind of covered what we think is going to happen in the future, even though we don't know.
No, I think we're good. I think we're good to sprinkle some crack on here and get some plugs in.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get some plugs. So again, if you're watching us on YouTube, hey, thanks. Hit subscribe while you're there, like we said at the beginning. Yes, hit subscribe. Do it. Do it. I dare you.
Now.
Do it. Do it. That's some shit on my.
Did you do it yet?
Here. Oh, you've had more than enough time to do it. Yeah. And of course, while you're there following and subscribing and all that, go on Apple and Spotify, whichever one you choose to use, and search Six Man Tag Podcast and follow us there and subscribe to it there. Go on Instagram at Six Man Tag Podcast. Go on Twitter at Six Man Tag, and you can follow us there. And by God, as God is my witness, if you type the word 6,
for the audience at home, I'm glaring evilly.
That. Exactly that. You're done if you type the word 6, because that's not us.
Done, son. It's
not us. To be fair, though, I may hit them up for collaboration. I don't know if anything will come of it, but I may. Let's be friends.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Let's be friends.
Then they're gonna go back and see how much shit we've done.
I'll tell them. I'll tell them it's our bit. Nobody needs to know.
It's a gimmick,
brother. No, I mean, people. Nothing will come of it. But I'm just gonna say right now that let's be friends.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? I don't want to walking out to the ring right now.
I was gonna say I don't want to get that can't be enough to get a copyright strike, can it?
I cut it off.
We wanted to use Yellow Submarine, but who could afford it? Yellow boat. Yellow boat. Whatever else they said in Arrested Development.
Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple.
How was that?
Twitter
coming up? Yeah, no, Twitter. So yeah, all of it. Twitter. 6 Man Tag Podcast. 6 Man Tag. That's the number 6. I'll just go ahead and be mean. That's the number 6, you bitch.
Yes. Go listen to the Paperweight broadcast there. Yes. CJ.
All the links are in our description. Yes. Paperweight broadcast.
Rumor has it maybe some. I think CJ may have mentioned Paperweight Project, but who knows?
Just a little bit. Just a couple of songs.
Hey CJ, you're welcome.
You are welcome. Listen, man, go back and watch some Bayley matches. I know I told you don't go watch Walter versus Tyler Bate, but do that too because it's awesome. Yeah. But watch a ton of again and okay, fine. Your other homework: Bayley versus Sasha Banks, Brooklyn Takeover, because that's as we said earlier, it's fucking awesome.
Yes.
Go back and watch it. I guarantee you, if you watch that event straight through and you watch that title match, I guarantee you won't be into the ladder match that much. And it's a great match, but you'll be like, whoa, how do I come back from that? And you want to know the biggest pop of that night, by the way, at that show for the live crowd?
Go on.
So I don't know if they still do it this way. I don't know, but they used to tape a few matches that they would put on the next NXT show,
Yes.
which they would incorporate highlights.
They don't still do that, but I know what you're talking about.
I don't think so, but they used to. So before TakeOver, they would film matches that were going to air
Right.
the following week. It didn't give spoilers or anything. Then they would cut their highlights in. Biggest pop, Enzo and Big Cass. Fucking roof blew off when their music hit and they did their thing.
Man, what a fall there.
You forget how over those two were, I think.
Yep.
I think a lot of people forget.
Yep.
I don't think it's worth taking a whole podcast episode on those guys.
Nope.
No offense, but just the pop at that at least was like, holy shit. If you go back and watch that NXT, because it's on there, the crowd's unreal for it. They were so over. It's unreal. But listen, yeah, Bayley, you're awesome. We love you on this podcast. If you ever want to be on this podcast, yes.
Yep.
You can name any time. I don't care.
Yep.
It'd be 3 a.m. on a fucking Tuesday. I'm in.
We know you're in CJ's time zone.
No, that's fair. It could be Japan if she's hopping on a plane to go watch her friend.
Yeah, possibly.
Because she did do that.
Yes.
That's what friends do.
Yes. My plug real quick. Still not really doing much right now, but I Fight Forever finally got a release date, so let's see how that is. And then something might be in the works.
This is, yeah, all right. I hope.
Let's see who can afford to buy the game at the time.
I mean, 60 bucks.
I mean, I can, friends of the podcast that should join in.
Yep. Listen, I hope the game's good. That's all I'll say.
So do I. Although there's a lot of blood. I saw some pictures. And
did John Moxley if he had any word?
I don't know. I guess so, because
more blood.
I saw a couple of pictures and it's like, that's a lot of blood.
More blood, please.
And you had to tone it down to not get an M rating, and you still got this. Okay.
Sure. Maybe just those screenshots were a little exaggerated, but probably not.
But then again, they also announced that Mortal Kombat reboot, and that looks gory as fuck, so it doesn't really matter.
I was gonna say, I mean, yeah, now you're talking about, good lord, all the finishers in Mortal Kombat. How you kill those motherfuckers in that game. That was something. Although that was, I'm sure that was an M rating. Had to be. Back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I guess you're talking
MA17.
I was gonna say you're dealing with two different things there when you're trying to get when you're trying to knock it down to a teen.
Yeah.
So you could appeal to your audience.
Exactly.
But listen, we'll sprinkle some crack on this episode. Again, Bayley, awesome. We love you. Blah blah blah. For Skylar, I'm Mike. Hey, we hope you enjoyed it this week. This is fun. And we kept it kind of short. We're not 2 hours again this week. We're like an hour and 20. So a lot less. Hey, until next time. Peace out, everybody. Bye-bye.
Godspeed, you Black Emperor.